we're going to be kicking off the new year by saving you some money. We're going to be giving you tips on how to save £1,000 over the course of the year by slashing your bills. So each day this week, we're going to be looking at different areas where you can make some savings. And we're starting today by talking about the hacks and tips that you can use to cut your energy bills by up to £250. Now, we know that the price cap has gone up, which means that your bills will be higher. But I'm joined today by consumer expert Harry Kind. Harry, is it possible to save people £250 a year on their energy bills?
At least. Easily peasily.
Really?
I think so. Yeah, it's one of those things where if you can just get it done, you can lock it in for the rest of your year and it's passive savings.
Okay. All right. So let's kick off because we've got quite a lot to get to. So first things first, what's your first tip?
So this is really the low-hanging fruit, and that is switching to paperless. So most of us have already switched our bills so that we don't get them through the post anymore. We just get them as an email. We have them on an online account. But there are still incentives out there to get you to switch. And the best one we found was £36 as a bribe from an energy company. It means they're saving on postage. It means you're saving, not having so much paper to deal with, the environment benefits. It's really easy to do. You should make sure you make that change as soon as you can.
So just by switching to paperless already, you save £36 in a year.
Easy peasy. Nice. But while you're logged into your account, you're doing that paperless, you've got to make sure that you're on direct debits. For the vast majority of people, that is going to be the cheapest, the easiest way of managing their bills, can save 7% on their energy bills, and that's because the price cap is lowest for direct debit. The only issue with that, though, is you're not actually paying for the energy that you use. You put in a little bit each month, and that will be more during the summer and a little bit less in the winter, and it all comes out in the wash. But that means that there are some people out there with thousands of pounds sitting in their direct debit energy accounts, which is not being used. That's your money.
So you can actually build up credit.
Just too much credit for some people. And if you need a bit of cash, draw that money down, put it in a savings account. That's saving you money. And as long as you can still pay your bills, that's all good.
All right. OK, so we're off to a good start. £36 saved. What about doing things around the house?
Yes. So when it comes to devices, you often hear about vampire devices. So things that are on standby costing you a load of money. Actually, there's a lot of hype about that. But your TV on standby for a whole year costs just 51p. Nothing. Who cares about your TV being on standby? Right. It's only costing you 51p. But vampires are the undead. They are the faulty appliances. Oh. So these could be things like a set-top box, which energy smart meter app provider Loop found, a set-top TV box costing £150 every year just because something was faulty with it. So you've really got to look out for these devices.
So these are things that we leave on. We don't they're off, but they're sort of in this standby mode.
Yeah.
And if they're not working properly, they might be just draining energy.
That's right. So there'll probably be something wrong with them. This happens to fridges, it happens to freezers, it happens to a really old desktop TV could be draining your cash. The thing to do is basically a spring clean of your appliances. Is go round, turn everything off, and then sit by your meter, watch it ticking over. It shouldn't be really moving that much because everything's off in your house. And then turn everything on one at a time. And if something makes that meter start spinning, you just got to bin it. That could be a beer fridge in your garage, which is 20 years old and there's something wrong with it. It could be a desktop PC.
So look around the house because you may have a device that's just sucking up to what you said,
£150 potentially. Yeah.
I have old speakers that I really don't use like that, and so I should really make sure that they're not doing that.
And is there? Am I right in thinking that there are these plugs that you can buy that you can put your appliance through, and they will give you an accurate reading of exactly how much energy that appliance is taking?
That's right. So you can get smart. Some of these are smart. Some of these are dumb appliance meters, and they will show you in watts how much your energy equipment is drawing. And some of those can be remotely controlled. So you can actually see on your phone, my TV is drawing, 1 penny of electricity every week. and if I want to, I can turn it off remotely. So those are a good investment. They cost about a tenner.
So we've got on the vampire devices, those are the devices that are sucking up all that energy. You've got the top tip, replace the faulty devices that we're dealing with. That could save you up to £150. Turn off the towel rail.
Yes, people might have their towel rails on, especially in like a downstairs bathroom. That's on all day. Basically, when it comes to energy, if something is putting out heat, that will cost you money.
Yeah.
Pretty much everything else won't cost you a whole lot.
And you can tell sometimes if something's faulty, if it's a desktop, if you touch it, if it's a desktop sort of tuner for your TV and it's very hot, that means it's sucking up a lot of energy.
Exactly.
And also turn off your desktop computers when you're not using them. Okay,
Absolutely.
so taking the 150 from these vampire devices, adding the £36 from going paperless, we're currently saving £186. What's next, Harry?
So this is a nice, easy one. Your boiler is probably the energy hungriest device that you have. For most people, that will be the cause of your bills. And I'm sure we all know, my dad has been telling me all over Christmas, you put your thermostat down by a degree, that will save you money.
Yeah.
And obviously, that's going to make you colder. And no one wants to have that trade-off. We all know that.
So just turning it from, if you've got it set to 20...
21 down to 20.
21? Harry, come
I know.
You're on 18. How hot? I bet you're on like 28. Greece style.
Yeah, probably. And then, but also what I have, just to jump in, I've got Tados, which are on my individual
thermostatic
on the radiators, which is a system where you can operate it via an app on your phone, which means that you can turn off individual radiators. You don't need to go up to them and then just stay warm in one room and then put it on half an hour before you go to bed in the room you're going to be in.
OK, but there is a difference now because there is turning your thermostat down by a degree, which is one thing, but we're talking about something different here.
Something else. And this shouldn't make your house any colder. And that is turning down the temperature on the boiler itself.
Right.
Now, this is going to vary from house to house, boiler to boiler, but if you have a combi condenser boiler without a hot water tank, most people have got these set too high. The water coming out of the boiler is at 80 degrees, way too hot. If you get it down to 60, your boiler is now being efficient for most people. But
does that mean your water's less hot?
So the water going to the radiators is less hot. And so no one wants their room at 80 degrees anyway. It's all about getting it up to that 20 degrees. It will still get there. It might just take a little bit longer.
But how much longer? We're talking about 15 minutes longer.
Potentially, and it will vary if you've got big radiators.
Now, just so people understand the difference, we're not talking about your thermostat here, whatever you've got on the wall with the degree. We're talking about that dial on your boiler. And Harry, very kindly of you, you filmed your boiler. Let's have a look at it. This is what it looks like. So you can turn down the little sign with the radiator. And actually, if you've got it sort of halfway, 12 o'clock, then you are... And how much can that save you?
That can be saving £65 on average.
Which is that one? I don't even know. We asked your question about that one. I don't know.
Well, there is a fantastic website called moneysavingboilerchallenge.com, and it will guide you through, because everyone's boilers looks different. Some of them don't have a proper temperature read. Some of them just have that number. It will guide you through step by step, and it's going to vary house to house. But I like to think of it a bit like a car going down a motorway. It's still going at 70 miles an hour, but you are now in gear 5 rather than gear 3. Really inefficient. So that should save you some money.
And as you said, you'll usually find 2 dials there. One's for the hot water. Leave that alone because that's what comes out of your shower. And the other one's for the water temperature going into your radiators. That's the one you want to put at 12 o'clock. And again, your house will still get as warm. It's just going to take a little bit longer to get there. So we've got the boiler flow, extra benefits.
Make sure you've got everything that you're entitled to on gov.co.uk. Really useful.
Look on gov.co.uk and find out if you're entitled to some extra help with your bills. And don't overfill your kettle.
Yes, so you only want to boil as much water as you're going to use. And when you're buying a new kettle, get one with a really low minimum fill, because that will save you a fortune over time. It's something like £12 a year on average, but it can be even less. And make sure you get a kettle that cuts off as soon as the water's boiled. You don't want it bubbling over.
OK.
And it's the same, actually, with your vegetables in your saucepan and your vegetables on yourself when you're in the bath.
Thank you for that, Christo. OK, moving on. Now, with savings from the energy supplier, the vampire devices, the household hacks, we've actually reached the total of £251. So we've achieved our goal of saving you £250 today. Remember, tomorrow we'll save you another £250, and Thursday and Friday another £250. However, You're not happy.
No,
You want to save more.
Belt and braces. Just make sure everyone's covered.
Go on, what else can we do?
So it's really old-fashioned, but light bulbs. Believe it or not, there are still halogen light bulbs out there. There are still incandescent light bulbs out there, which are costing a fortune. And the saving on average of switching per bulb to LED is about £5 per year.
But they are more expensive, the LED ones.
Not anymore. Now you can get them under £2 easily. You can get them in Poundland sometimes. They are worth getting, even if your bulb has still got some life in it. You just want to be swapping those out. So what I would suggest is go around your house, a bit like with that spring clean of appliances, do the heat check. If there's heat coming off that bulb, it could be a halogen bulb, you should be replacing it.
OK. One thing I wanted to mention, because I know there's a cost of living crisis, and you and I have discussed this previously, there are these devices that people can buy, usually on social media marketplaces, that say, stick this into your plug and it will save you 20% on your bills. You and I have talked about them.
Yeah.
Don't waste your money buying them. They're not going to save you money. And also, they can be dangerous.
They can be really dangerous. They've just got a load of bogus electronics in there that will burr and weep, and it will just make you think, oh, this is saving me money. They do not. They can have really high-powered capacitors in there that can electrocute you, that could cause a house fire. Be very wary. Yeah. There's no getting around the laws of physics. It's hard to make your whole house energy efficient with just one plug.
OK. So, look, these are our savings. So, go paperless, £36 saved. Replace faulty devices, £150 saved. Boiler flow, £65 saved. And switch to LED, £20 saved. A total of £271. Sir, you're a genius. Thank you. Thank you very much. Now, I believe you've got a question, Chris.
Well, firstly, you said about the energy price cap going up. We only ever hear about it going up now. Will it ever go back down?
Not for the foreseeable future. I mean, we'll see some little tweaks in the summer, maybe, where the prices will come down. But really, if you're thinking it's about £2,000, it's about £2,000. The thing to remember, the price cap, it's not an all-you-can-eat buffet. It's the price per unit. So that's around 28, 29p for electricity, 7.5p for gas. That's up 5% compared to last year.
All this stuff will bring it down then?
All of this stuff will bring it down. And the more energy that you use, the more these reductions will save you money.
And what about switching? We've been told not to switch for the time being, but are there competitive deals now coming out in the market?
We've kind of had it easy for 2 years where actually the price cap has been the limit for most people, so it's not been worth saving, not been worth fixing. There are some good deals out there. So E.ON Next has a deal which will keep you under 3% below the price cap. If you want to fix, that just gives you peace of mind. That's a really good deal. There will be deals for existing customers that could be cheaper. Shop around. There's not a huge number of good ones. But what I would say is if you've got like a bit of a niche case, you've got an electric car, you've got a smart meter, you've got a heat pump, all of those things run best on off-peak energy prices. So a bit like the old Economy 7. If you can get one of those tariffs, that could save you a lot of money. OK, a few people have been getting in touch. Let's speak to Peter in Northumberland. Peter, welcome to the show. What would you like to say?
Good afternoon.
Afternoon.
It's a positioning of radiators. Traditionally, people side radiators in front of windows and the heat goes straight out the window. Ideally, you should site one on an internal wall opposite the window, so that the heat has to travel right across the room before it goes out the window.
That's a good point, isn't it?
It is.
If you do have a radiator in front of a window, it's a good idea to fit a shelf above it so that the heat is directed away from the window into the room.
But Peter, did you used to fit radiators? How come you know about this?
Well, I did my own central heating and fitted them in front of the windows, and I just worked out since then that it was the wrong thing to do.
Well,
the reason why they put them in front of the windows is to leave the walls free for furniture.
Yes, that's right. Yeah, no, it was an mistake. Peter, thank you. Great tip. I mean, I'm not sure if everybody can move their radiators, but if you can.
But what you can do is you can put foil behind your radiators.
Yes,
so that
reflects some of the heat.
Reflects out into the house as much as possible.
Bleeding radiators, that's something I've learned to do recently.
Bleeding your radiators.
Very grown up when I do that.
Let's take a very quick call. Michelle in London. Michelle, good afternoon. What would you like to say?
Hello, good afternoon. Happy New Year.
Happy New Year.
Thank you. Well, I've got a few tips, but I won't be able to get through all of them.
Go on. Go on.
Mine's on saving water. So I've halved my bill by doing some of these tips, and some we already know. Not running the shower in the shower. Between, just rinsing rather than constantly running. I think my top tip I'll go to.
Give us your top tip, Michelle, because I'm running out of time.
Yeah. My top tip would be when running the hot water to get it hot, to collect the cold water in a bucket over a few days and use it to flush your toilet with. Just, your leaks. Not your number twos. That's
a good tip. Michelle, thank you. I'm sure we're going to be talking about this again, so do call back with the rest of your tips. Thank you so much. Thank you to Harry. Tomorrow, we are going to be showing you how to save another £250. But this time, we're going to be looking on your phone, broadband and subscriptions deals. But look, that's it for today. Thank you so much. Harry Kine, brilliantly done. Georgie Barrett, thank you. And Christo Fufas. Thank you to everyone. Thank you to you as well for your calls and messages. Jeremy's back at 9:15 tomorrow morning. See you at the same time tomorrow.